Welcome into the UTRGV Coaches Show, the final edition of the UTRGV Coaches Show as the Vaqueros wrapped up their season with a win against the East Texas A&M Lions at home at Robert and Janet Vaquer Stadium to stay perfect at home in Edinburgh on the season. We're joined once again by the head coach of the Vaqueros, Travis Bush. Coach Bush, couldn't have asked for a better end of the season, 3-game winning streak, and finishing the regular season, as we said, undefeated on your home field.
Yeah, it's just the perfect ending to this first year. Excited for it, guys, and we were kind of joking in the locker room that maybe God didn't want this season to end last night with in the rain delay, but just fired up the way we handled that. But couldn't ask for a better way to go out for those seniors and in this inaugural group, and it truly was a special season.
So talk to me about how you did handle that as a team, because, I mean, their 3-hour delay, not the first time you've had a delay. Obviously, Prairie View A&M, you guys had a little bit of a delay there. This one a little bit longer. How do you guys handle that in the locker room? Yeah,
really, it just goes in the mindset that we've built there, and it's really, it's just kind of a what's next mentality. And then we know that, we can't control things in adversity. It's just how we respond to it. And we actually had a delay in our mock game the week before our first game. First time we did a kind of a mock game in the stadium, and we had a delay, and we sat in that locker room waiting. So we kind of were joking about that, how we prepared for it. But we knew that would be a key, making sure we handle that and being the tougher team and not letting that bother us. So proud of the way they handled that, and we came out and got to work.
Well, we'll talk more about that delay and how it impacted things coming up later on the show. For now, let's talk about the season. 9 wins for you guys on the season. Put in perspective for people, what does that mean for this program moving forward? Especially, I imagine one of the biggest benefits is just recruiting. Easier to sell people on coming to a winning place so that you can get more wins down the road.
Yeah, really, that was the biggest question. We knew obviously the way this thing was set up, before we got here, but we knew this was going to be great. Facilities were going to be great. It was going to be set up to be successful. The biggest question was, how quickly can you be successful? How quickly are we going to be able to get guys in here? Are we going to be able to compete at the FCS level, compete in this conference? So to see this group and what they did, really. Just set that standard. We've talked about that. The standard's been set, and they sped this process up. That was their goal, their mindset from day one. And that was the final question. Well, how quickly can you win? Well, the answer is now. And so, the recruits that were told, hey, don't go there. You're not going to win there for years. Don't go waste your career there. Now they know that, we've got phenomenal facilities. We got a phenomenal fan base. And, now we know that we can compete in this conference and win. So, the standard's been set. Now the challenge is we have to uphold that standard.
Yeah, the other coaches telling them all that stuff must have to come up with something else now to say to why they shouldn't go to UTRGV. Let's take a look at the conference standings from this year. Obviously, you guys finished right behind the three Southland Conference teams heading to the FCS playoffs. It'll be Lamar, Southeastern, and Stephen F. Austin headed there. For you guys to finish right behind them, 4th place in the conference. They're tied with Lamar technically at 5-3 since Lamar lost yesterday. What does that mean for the program?
Well, it shows you, how tough the conference is. That all 3 of our losses are in the FCS playoffs. The top 20, the 24-team playoff of all the 130 teams in the country. 24 get to go to the playoffs. So it just shows you the strength of our league this year and the quality of the programs, and then kind of see where we stacked up. We were a play away from winning that Lamar game. And again, just shows you, and those are veteran clubs. But again, what we've got in store for us. But the fact that we can compete in this conference.
It's been incredible. And again, I don't want to totally overemphasize it, but again, pick to finish 10th in this first year, to finish up there with the top teams, really in the nation, 3 of the top teams in the nation. Very impressive for the first year for the Vaqueros. We're going to look at some of the things that happened in last night's game, the big win over East Texas A&M, break down some of the film with Coach Bush when we return here on the UTRGV Coaches Show. Welcome back into the UTRGV Coaches Show with the head coach of the Vaqueros football team, Travis Bush, after a 33-14 win to close out the season over East Texas A&M. Coach Bush, we talked about the delay, how that impacted things. The offense did not see much of the field in the first quarter either, so it was really even lengthier delay from them. East Texas A&M had 18-play drive to start the game. 18 plays took up about 8 minutes of the clock, and then you guys had a 3-and-out right after that. So things, again, didn't start great for your team. You've had a couple early deficits for the team, but the defense really picked it up from there, and this play really changed it. Logic Hudgens able to get the pick 6. We'll take a look at it here, and it was a huge play. Break this one down for us.
Yeah, Logic, again, just happy for him. You know, his only touchdown, first touchdown of his career in his final game of his career. Phenomenal young man, has done a great job for us. And, you know, so proud of him. But just playing a little trap coverage up there at the top, you can see he's off corner. We call it trap for a reason because it kind of baits you into throwing that stuff. You think he got space, but he's gonna knife up there to take away all that quick game, which he does a great job just executing and breaking on that football and being in the right place, being where he's supposed to be at the right time. And then, of course, his speed to take it to the house. But great boost of momentum for us. But, again, throws the defense right back on the field. But, you know, we knew Commerce would come out and do some good stuff offensively and defensively. But that was a heck of a play. And, you know, really once we ran that back, everything got in a rhythm.
And talk about the job the defense did, because, you know, from that point on in the game, they only allowed 7 points after the first drive, after giving up that opening drive score. What makes the defense so good at adjusting in these games? Seems like, you know, first quarter, they might have their struggles, but they're really able to adjust, make the adjustments they need to make, and play great for the final 3 quarters. Yeah,
and that goes into, again, in our coach staff. Coach Gamble does a phenomenal job. But, yeah, and that's what it was. They come out, they did a lot of good stuff. We knew they were going to attack coverages and weaknesses, and that's exactly what they did on that early drive, and came out and did some different stuff, but really did a great job of attacking some things. But then once you know, defense figured out what they were doing, and then we're able to make the adjustments and really pretty much slow them down the rest of the game.
Well, later in the game, 2 turnovers for your team in this one that they were able to force. Elijah Prosser gets the other one on the pick in the second half. Talk to us about this one.
Yeah, huge momentum here, and again, coming out and trying to get the scramble. Thought he had a guy there, but tried to get over his head, and Elijah makes a great play. Just great hands, great job to get his hands on the football. Again, that was coming out early in the second half, which again, it's a 20-7 game. So if they go down, they can make this a 1-score game. But that pick sets us up in good field position to go ahead and at least get a field goal there and extend the lead.
Great job by Elijah. Not an easy play to make. You mentioned full extension there, showing off you know, his catch radius to the defensive back position, and a great job picking that one off. Nice short return there to set you guys up. You guys had a tremendous work again from your defense. Just talk to me about what you've loved about this unit, especially some of the seniors and the redshirt seniors, graduate students on this unit.
Yeah, well, and the big thing is turnovers. You know, the turnovers gained. You got 3 more last night, and you know, it's you know, that put us in top of the conference and country there. So that's been huge, because to gain those extra possessions, real good momentum gainers. But you know, definitely that was the key, getting those older guys in the secondary, and proud of the job they did coming in, and really not knowing how they would stack up, but just a phenomenal job. And our defense, Coach Gamble does a great job in putting those guys in position and mixing up what they do in the back end. But it's been a good group, and again, you play great defense, you play good defense, you got a chance to win, and that's the biggest key in us winning 9 ball games.
When we come back here on the UTRGV Coaches Show, we're going to look at some of the big plays on offense from the game against East Texas A&M. You're watching the UTRGV Coaches Show here on Channel 5. Welcome back into the UTRGV Coaches Show, the final Coaches Show of the season, as UTRGV just wrapped up their season with a win against East Texas A&M, joined by the head coach of the Vaqueros, Travis Bush. Coach Bush, talking about your offense a little bit. As we mentioned, just not on the field a lot to start this game. I had the 3-hour delay, and then just one quick possession, 3 and out to start the first quarter, as you know, East Texas A&M able to put the long drive. How did that impact them? Not only the delay, but then also not getting on the field to start the game very much. Yeah,
I mean, it was just kind of frustrating. But again, they took that first drive down and took up a lot of clock, and come out and they credit to East Texas. Again, they came out, really ran a totally different defense than what we were anticipating, and they were going to be committed to just taking away anything deep, not giving up the big play, not giving up the explosive plays, especially on the outside, and really forcing you to run the football. And so really, once we kind of got a beat on what they were doing, and we just stayed patient and started taking the short stuff and running the football, and that's what you saw. Really, it's just churning out those drives there.
And then in the second quarter, you were going to take a look at the video here. You guys were able to start the second quarter drive, finally get things going, and it really seemed like Tony Diaz was kind of, again, one of the sparks. I think we've talked previously this season about, the offense kind of struggling a little bit, and you guys going right to Tony, dialing a few things up for him.
Well, that was only our second drive. Our fourth play of the game was in the second quarter. So really, at that point, just staying on script, which you're trying to get the ball to those guys early anyway. But definitely that was about a 91-yard drive. And again, the game was tied at 7. We really needed to turn some clock and keep our defense off the field because they had been on the field, then the pick 6, they're right back on the field again. So really needed to take our time with that drive. So it worked out good. We were able to hit some of the short stuff, really rely on the run game, convert some third downs, and take that thing down to score.
And now taking a look at the Ishmael Smith-Flores touchdown on that drive. Looked like a nice little crossing pattern concept. Things got caught up in the middle, and he's able to get into the end zone.
Yeah, a little mesh route. And again, they were going to take away the deep stuff, which opened up all the underneath stuff. And that's where he was coming across the field. Great job by Eddie finding him. And, good to get that ball. Ishmael can do some good things as well. And, fired up for him to get in the end zone.
Nathan Denny able to make a nice block at the end of this play too. Great job by Nathan. I know he's been another one that you've loved coaching this season, just whether it's him making a play himself or helping make plays for others. It's not the first time we've seen him make some great blocks for you guys. And it seems like just all-around running back, someone you've loved to coach.
Yeah, they don't make them like Nate Denny anymore. I think he's built like back in the 1970s and 80s, but just a tough dude, loves to practice, loves to play football, loves to hit people. Going to do anything you ask him to do, totally unselfish, going to lay his body on the line for everyone else on the team. But just phenomenal leader. And then again, going back to that senior group that we identified to come in here, and he was the perfect model to come in here and set this standard and foundation for us.
Well, we'll talk about another key senior for you guys when we come back. Eddie Lee Marburger, obviously, he had a special moment towards the end of the game. We're going to talk about that when we return here on the UTRGV Coaches Show. Welcome back into the UTRGV Coaches Show. Once again, joined by the head coach of the Vaqueros, Travis Bush. Coach Bush, you had a special moment towards the end of the game. Eddie Lee Marburger, taking him out. He gets a great ovation from the crowd, and we get a shot of him walking off the field, you greeting him as he walks off. Talk to me about just what that moment was like and what he's meant to you in this program.
He said it from day one. He was a perfect man for the job, and the way this thing was set up when he came in the spring, felt like it was set up to be the perfect ending to his career, the perfect beginning for us, and really not having any expectations, but totally exceeded any expectations. But was a perfect man for the job, not only for what he did on the field, but what he did in the locker room, what he does for the communities here. Thought it was just fitting that the initial starting quarterback for this program was a real Grand Valley High School football player, and he just the perfect role model, and again the perfect dude for the job to get this thing started. He'll be remembered here for forever in this program.
It was storybook kind of stuff, him coming back and making the impact he has. And I know you guys really kind of clicked from the beginning, right, when you were recruiting him and just talking football right away.
Yeah, definitely. And there's got to be a close connection with the play call and the quarterback. And we've really grown together, I think, through this year. And we talked about that, me and him last night. How iron sharpens iron, and helped him get better. He's helped me get better, and just the relationship we've had, and really that respect, the mutual respect, and him allowing us to coach him hard and still demand details, even though it's 1 year, but he still improved on so many things. But really, what he did, his leadership, his humility in this football team, and really people don't see what he did inside that locker room. And but he was really the gel, and we talked. The unity was going to be the secret for this thing to work. That group had to come together, love each other, fight for each other for us to have a chance this year. And he played a major role in making sure that happened. And again, that's what you witnessed these past 3 months.
And there were so many times throughout the course of the season, even when we were at a practice, and we'd talk to Eddie, we'd set up interviews with him, and he'd bring over one of the unsung heroes on the offense, making sure that he always had somebody next to him, whether it was an offensive lineman or one of the skill position players. Just always wanted to do an interview with one of his teammates, and I think that kind of shows another element of him as a leader.
Exactly, and he's even done the same thing. He's been hit up with so many of these, restaurants or companies to do these commercials and stuff, and all he wants to do is get his buddies in there as well. So you see more of our guys getting some exposure and stuff, but he plays such a huge role in getting out in the community, to schools, and everything he does. He's a phenomenal young man, and represents everything we want to build in this program.
Well, I think people are eager to know what the future kind of looks like. I imagine you're among those people that are going to know what the future is going to look like. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to try to see how the offseason is going to go, what the plans are, and think about maybe recruiting, how that's going to look throughout the course of the next few months. So that's coming up when we return here on the UTRGV Coaches Show. Welcome back into the UTRGV Coaches Show. Closing things out on our final episode of the UTRGV Coaches Show of the season. UTRGV playing their final game against East Texas A&M, finishing conference play with a 5-3 record, 9-3 overall on the season. Coach Bush, we're going to look at here some of the redshirt seniors and graduate students that are leaving the program this fall. Some of the guys that had some of the biggest impact on the team. Eddie Lee Marburger, Nathan Denny, Elijah Graham, Logic Hudgens, just to name a few there. You see some other key players, key contributors for the team this season. What's it going to take to replace these guys?
Really, we've got, that just still shows you how young we are. When you look at the progress of this team, and there's 8 guys, 7 guys, the key guys leaving the program. Still a lot of guys coming back, and a lot of returners, a lot of guys that were in backup roles again to continue to develop those that'll have an opportunity. So, but really, you evaluate everything. We'll start from scratch. We'll look at our roster. We'll look at what we need. Based on where we see those guys that were in those backup positions. Do we continue to develop there? Do we still need some older guys because our roster's still pretty young? So a lot of that in the next few weeks. We'll truly evaluate what we need from a personnel roster standpoint. We'll look at ours. We'll make sure again we've got guys that other people may want, bigger schools, and we got to find a way to make sure we take care of our guys, those young guys that have really excelled. That's part of the landscape of college football now, and we'll look at some of those situations as well, and then just continue to evaluate every phase, every detail of our program, and again see how we can continue to improve.
As far as recruiting season goes, what does that look like for you over the course of the next few months, and what are you specifically looking for?
We've got an open period here in December. We've got a few weeks we can be on the road. Young men can come visit. Really leading into January, there's a transfer portal window. It's a small window this year. It's in January. It's a 14-day window. We're starting in January 2nd. Really kind of evolving up to that, trying to figure out what our needs are. If there's anything in the portal that we're going to need, we got to get that done before January. We got to get those evaluations done, and then making sure again we'll have our our meetings with our young men. Get a feel for everything. If guys were trying to leave here, or where we stack, where we stand up. So it's really just every day, everything's so fluid, and evaluating where we're at daily and what we need to go after, and then identifying those targets, and trying to continue to make our roster better.
And as far as some of the key players leaving, obviously some key offensive players. We saw Eddie, Nathan, key contributors for you guys. How do you go about kind of replacing those guys in terms of obviously what you have on the roster now and potentially bringing guys in?
Well, you take quarterback. It's we feel good about quarterbacks in our room. We've got young guys, and we felt like this first year we felt like we needed someone like Eddie to help get us started that has some college experience. Now those guys coming up have game experience. They played in games. Aiden Jacobson has done a phenomenal job for us. He's totally capable of the job, and we'll have so much faith in him. So we'll look at those situations, evaluate. Hey, we're still young in the quarterback room though. So where do we need we do need to add one. So where's it going to be? What kind of player is that guy going to be? So we'll look at every position that way and see what we need, and and then go from there.
Just before the kind of full evaluation process, what are some of the types of players that you want to add to this program? I know you mentioned kind of size being something that you want to add more of kind of on the line and things like that. Is that kind of the main focus this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, you look at every position, and we tell our guys from day one, our goal is to recruit better than what we have on our roster. So if we're going to recruit someone better than you, and he's either going to come here and take your position, or you're going to get better, not let him take your position. Either way, the team gets better. So that's how the team continues to grow. So we look at what we have and making sure, we need to go find better than what we have. And also just recruiting to that culture of how we work. We've built that standard And so guys finding the right guys that are going to come in and understand, hey, this is how we work. This is the way we do things, and fitting that standard of how we coach, how we teach, and how we act, and really in everything we do in the life we live. So everything goes into play, and so we've got to. It's a long process, and we've got to make sure our staff does a phenomenal job. And you get out, you build these relationships, you find out as much as you can. Again, you're investing in these young men, so you definitely want the best return on your investment.
All right, well, Coach Bush, thank you so much for joining us every Sunday throughout the course of the season. Hasn't always been easy. I know we mentioned it a few times, but some long drives back that you've had to go through from away games to be here on Sunday every day for the Coaches Show. So we really do appreciate you stopping by and taking the time.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the support all year, and again, proud to enjoy this right alongside you.
Thanks, Coach Bush. Thank you all for joining us each week on Sunday as well for the Coaches Show. For myself, KJ Doyle, alongside Coach Travis Bush of the Vaqueros. We'll see you next season.